Ball a lot. Bitch on your stony, I do what I want. Candy paint with the white on top. Lambo doors with a woo up.
So we are back, the Giants franchise, and today take a look at Week 4's matchup between the Giants and the Buccaneers. And it's just a great, actually it's a pretty good game last time around, as our offense actually came up strong and our defense came up even stronger, and we won the game, which is our first W of the season. So we finally got in the win column for the first time this season, as Jameis Winston had a 93.1 passing rating, 261, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, whereas Manning, 77 pass rating, 232, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions on the day. And then we take a look at rushing yards. Rushing, this is a big statement game for Orleans Darkwa. He had 62 on the ground on 15 attempts, 4.1 per carry. So he had a great game for us. Even Eli had a great game too, 33 rushing yards on 5 attempts. So Eli and Darkwa played great on the run. And I'm pretty sure Darkwa could be starting for the next few weeks just based on the fact that I like him more. And he just seems more fit for our offense here in New York. Then next up is receiving yards. We had Mike Evans there, had 101 and a touchdown for the Buccaneers. Then Evan Ingram in his first big game of the season, actually first big game in the NFL, had 96 yards through the air, 4 receptions, 24 per reception, and 1 touchdown. So his first touchdown of his career. Great game from Evan Ingram though. I love him on the crossing routes and stuff. It's just really cool to have him on there because he's great at catching. But nonetheless, we have O.J. Howard, 49 yards, Doug Martin, 48. We had Odell Beckham Jr., 34. Sterling Shepard at 31. Brandon Marshall, 26. Darkwa, 15, and a touchdown. And yeah, that's about it. And then we take a look at the next thing, which is our basically sacks allowed to our offensive line. Did they play well? And the answer is they played alright though. Greg Van Roten, 1 sack against. He played decent. He wasn't the greatest, but he wasn't the worst. They really didn't notice too much out of him playing bad. But then Bobby Hart, though, had 2 sacks against him on the edge. But you take a look at the next thing, which is defense. Our defense came up big this game, though. Andrew Adams, 7 tackles. We had, in each show, had 6. We had Rogers Cromartie there, had 5 tackles on the game. Sacks-wise, we had a lot of sacks on the day, though. We had 1.5 from Dalvin Tomlinson, our rookie D-tackle. We had 1 from Darrell Washington, and a touchdown, too, from Darrell Washington as well, because he ran that one back, I believe. Yep, there it is. 76 on the return and 1 touchdown for him on the day. I believe that could be his first touchdown in his NFL career, but I'm not really positive on that one yet. But Casillas, though, he played great again, though. Jonathan Casillas is so underrated on this team. Like, if he's not playing starter, he's playing starter next game. Actually, wait, we could actually leave him in backup because he's playing well as a backup. But still, 4 tackles, 1 sack on the day. We have Olivier Vernon, 4 tackles, 1 sack on the day. Eli Apple, 4 tackles, 1 sack on the day. We have Valentino Blake, 2 tackles, 1 sack on the day. And that's the last sack we have on here. Interceptions, no picks for the defense this time around. But I have a feeling we'll get a couple more next weekend on this game. But we have 1 kick there from Patrick Murray, 1 for 1 the day from 40 yards out. Then punting wise, only 1 punt from Brad Wing the entire day. That's because we just play, like, we're playing 8-minute quarters because it's just way more faster. Plus, it's not as high scoring as it is usually, because when you go up to about 10 minutes, there's way too many touchdowns. So it's basically insane how many touchdowns there are for both teams whenever I play. So you don't want to play too much, like run up the scores too much, because it gets unrealistic. But we have 2 kick returns from Jakeem Grant and 1 from Jakeem Grant on the punt. So now we are 1-3 on the season. We're doing alright. We're doing fine here in the NFC East. We're not that far back, as the rest of the teams are 2-1, have positive records, but we're 1-3. We can easily come back from this. Next weekend we're facing the Chargers. The Chargers have a great offense, but I'm not sure if they have a great defense. So we'll take a look at that though in the stats, see if we'll play well against them, and so on. But right now, Eli Manning, I guess that's only after 1 game, never mind. But take a look at the team stats for, I guess, defensive yards. We'll see this. So offense is right, the Chargers' best offense in the NFL, but defensive-wise, let's see this on defense. I'm not sure if they're good. And they are not that bad, actually. So we kind of have a tough game against the Chargers upcoming next week. Hopefully go and just pick off, I believe, yeah, is it Philip Rivers in LA now? I'm kind of getting confused with all the teams going to LA, because there's so many damn teams going to LA in the past 2 years, though. The Rams, now the Chargers playing the same stadium. So I don't know. I believe it's Philip Rivers, though. It is, I'm pretty sure. But we'll go to the next week, see what our scouting has for us, and see if there's anything new happening in the NFL. So the Chargers are now 2-2 on the season. They're at 500, but I believe we could probably go and take him this game though, because our team coming off a win. I believe we got enough momentum and hype as now our best defensive player on the team, I believe. So Landon Collins is finally back to go play again. So Landon's now back in his strong safety position, 93 overall. Huge to see him back in the lineup because he's just a force on defense, even though our defense is playing great without him. So it's great to have a 93 overall defensive player coming back on the team to go and help you in the secondary. So that's why I believe we'll probably pick off Philip Rivers at least once in this game with Landon Collins back to speed here with the team. But now is time for the scouting right now. So you have 177 points left in our week right now. So first overall is Alan Horn right now, but right now we're not in the market necessarily for a QB rated high up because we have a lot more problems to worry about than QB though. Like QB, we do have Davis there. Davis Webb is sitting in the wings to go and take over Eli Manning's position if he basically sims well. But even if Davis Webb doesn't progress, I think we might be able to snag a decent quarterback in like the 3rd or 4th round and develop him slowly into a great quarterback for the future, because like it's just boring developing quarterbacks that are 4th overall or 3rd overall or even 2nd overall that is great from the start, and you don't really have to do too much to them in order to make them great. So I just want to see QB start from the bottom and rise to the top slowly but surely through this franchise mode right now with the Giants. But right now we can take a look at our positions of need. So tight end, we do not need a tight end. We have Evan Ingram. Left tackle, we need a left tackle or some just offensive line help in general, because right tackle kind of worrying. Left tackle, it's decent, but we need some players there for sure. Probably a superstar player would be great there, but we can also maybe use a right guard just as a backup, I guess, too. Defensively, we do need some linebackers there in the middle or the right side linebacker position. But the rest of the team's great though. Our D tackles are amazing. Our right ends and left ends, they're great. And our left outside linebacker is alright. So right now it's pretty much just offensive line and possibly linebackers, which is pretty much often for most teams. So right now, let's go and find some offensive linemen. So left tackles, who's on here for left tackle? We have Mitchell Barbieri, and he's not great. Actually, he's alright. We have McBurrows, who is undrafted right there. We have Bowens, who's a 7th rounder. Because we want to go through everybody, see if they're good or not, because you gotta test everybody to go see if they're decent in the scouting, because we have a lot of scouting points to spend this season. But Tavares Hunt, he is not that bad. Gabriel Saunders, and he's alright for the beginning. So we scouted a few more left tackles this season. Now let's move on to the next thing, which is our NFL. Basically look at the NFL, see who's playing great and so on. So our schedule, who's actually playing well right now in the league for week 4. Who won, who lost, let's see this. So first game is the Bears and the Packers, and Chicago actually won against the Green Bay Packers 38-27. So Mitchell Trubisky playing well, or Mike Glennon for the matter. And Mitchell, 381, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Aaron Rodgers, 290, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And Brett Hundley came in and threw a touchdown pass for 13 yards. So Mitch is playing fantastic this season, though. He is playing great. Maybe Offensive Rookie of the Year could be in his future. But what else actually happened here? Jordan Howard played well. Montgomery played well as usual. And Langford played decent. Receiving yards, Jordy Nelson played well. But Zach Miller played well as well. And then we have Devontae Adams who played well as well. So too many wells, but we'll go to the next thing, which is Saints and Dolphins. New Orleans won 17-8, pretty obvious right there. Then we have Bills and Falcons, and the Falcons lit up the Bills there. 37-16 is your final. Then we have the Ravens and the Steelers. Steelers won 33-14. Then we have Cleveland winning 2018 over Cincinnati. So Cleveland is playing decent this season, though. I'm surprised about that one. And it looks like Andy Dalton had a great day, but Kessler had a decent day and still won the football game, so it must have been defense coming up big. Or even Isaiah Crowell there as 147 on the ground, 1 touchdown, and 7 per carry. Just a huge game out of him, but Bernard had played well too, and Duke Johnson played well as well. So just a lot of great running backs here in Cleveland for sure. AJ Green 134, Brett had 55, 44 for John Ross, and that's about it there for that game. But next thing up is this Rams and Dallas game, and Dallas just smoked the Rams though, 42-14, not even close in that game. Then we have Tennessee to Houston, 25-23 W for Tennessee. Minnesota and Detroit. Minnesota won. We have Carolina and New England. Carolina won that one 44-23. Then we have Jacksonville winning 27-13 over the Jets. 45-23 against San Fran for Arizona. Now you have Philadelphia 34-13 over the Chargers. So let's see how well the Chargers played before they play us this weekend, though. Let's see this. So Phillip played pretty good, though. 216, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions on the day. And their backup had 12 yards for 116.6 passing rating. But rushing-wise, Darren Sproles 96 on the ground, whereas Melvin Gordon 40 for them. So the running game isn't the strongest necessarily, but their passing game is still pretty good with Philip Rivers, though. He's a great quarterback. You gotta remember that. But we also have Travis Benjamin to watch out for. 106 on through the air there, 1 touchdown for him. Then we have Terrell Williams there, 44. And Keenan Allen had 18, 58 for Melvin Gordon, 19 for Antonio Gates. So they're a decent team. They're pretty good. We gotta watch out for them this weekend as we face them in LA. But the next game up is this matchup between New York and Tampa Bay. And we finally won our first game of the season there. And then we have Oakland and Denver right there. Oakland won 20-19 over Denver, 1-point W. Then we have Indiana and Seattle. Indiana took that one 26-12. Then we have Kansas City winning 37-22 over Washington. So I'd say a pretty good weekend there for NFL action in week 4. But now it's time to go and prepare for that game against the Chargers here in week 5. So our lineup pretty good there. Now we finally have Landon Collins back with the team in his starting strong safety position, though. I love to see that with him back in the lineup. But other than that, though, our linebackers are playing fantastic the last few games, though. Like, Casilla is playing great. We also have, actually, he is starting at right outside linebacker, that's right. So, who else played well? Washington played well at the not the forced fumble, but the fumble recovery for the touchdown with Casillas on the sack. This great overall defense from this team so far. I'm loving this performance out of this team. But we'll go with the next thing, which is simming this game against the Chargers. Let's go see this. And we fall to 1-4 on the season as the Chargers too much for us in that game. But we have DJ Fluker back at right tackle, so it's good to see that as he's back. But still, it stings to have another loss against us on the season. Now we're even in a deeper hole than we were before. So let's take a look at the matchup there. We lost 40-35, so not a pretty close game there, I'd say to myself. But the Chargers is too good of an offense to go and face off against, and they won that game 40-35. So take a look at this one as, did we get let up for over 600 yards on offense? We did. That is not good for us at all. But Philip Rivers, 495, almost 500 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception for a 128.5 passing rate. Fantastic game out of Philip. But Eli, 254, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. So I mean, we played all right, I guess, but just didn't play well enough to match with the Chargers. But hey, I did tell you to get 1 interception against Philip, and we did. So I want to see who got the pick, though. Hopefully it was Landon Collins. But rushing wise, again, Darkwa, another big game for him. 94 on the ground, 1 touchdown, 3.9 per carry. Great game out of him. But Melvin Gordon, 61 and 4.4 per carry, 1 touchdown. Philip at 24. Vereen at 23 and a touchdown. So he came in and played well in the backup role. But receiving yards, though, it wasn't even close for us, though. We got lit up through the air. 159 for Keenan Allen, 137 for Travis Benjamin, 116 for Odell. He played well in that game. 2 touchdowns and 100 yards for Terrell Williams, 80 for Melvin Gordon and a touchdown, 35 for Vereen, 34 for Evan Ingram and a touchdown. Pretty good to see that. 28 for Darkwa, 27 for Shepard, 14 for Brandon Marshall, 10 for Gates, and 9 for Hunter Henry and a touchdown. Blocking, though, let's see if anybody let up sacks for us on the day. Did they? And 1 from Bobby Hart. It's good to see Fluker back because Bobby Hart will no longer be starting. But one thing to note, though, is Greg Van Roten did not let up a sack in this game. He's actually protecting Eli Manning on, I believe, his blind side because he throws right. So that would be his blind side. So we need a good left tackle. It looks like Greg Van Roten played well in that game. But Landon Collins, 11 tackles, 0 interceptions, though. So it looks like Janoris Jenkins on the pick. That's pretty good to see that from our secondary. But Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie there at 7 tackles, 6 from Casillas, 6 from Washington, 5 from Andrew Adams. Let's see sacks first, actually. And we had 1 sack on the day. It is from rookie Dalvin Tomlinson once again. So Tomlinson playing well through the middle. I like to see him play as great as he's doing right now. But Next thing up, though, is our matchup against Denver. But first, we have to take a look at the NFL and see who played well and who lost and so on. So, first game in Week 5 was Buccaneers Patriots. Patriots won that one 33-23. Bills Bengals. Looks like Buffalo took that one 33-25. Jets Browns, and the Jets lit up the Browns 35-19. You have Panthers Lions. Panthers went and lost the game against the Lions 35-32. Then we had San Fran at Indiana, low scoring game there, but San Fran actually won that game against Indiana, so that's pretty surprising there. But Tennessee lost to Miami 26-22, and the Chargers won 40-35 against the New York Giants here. That sucks to see that, but Philly lit up Arizona there 30-9, 32-10 for Pittsburgh over Jacksonville. And it looks like Seattle won and demolished the Rams there 37-13. We have 38-21 against Baltimore with the Oakland Raiders. Oakland destroyed them. And then we have Dallas winning 37-33 over Green Bay. Dallas winning yet another game on the season. But then we have Kansas City lighting up Houston there 47-24 on that game. And then we have Minnesota winning 23-16 over Chicago. So I guess pretty good weekend there for, or pretty good week there for NFL action. But now, I forgot to check it last week, which is our players of the week. Who played well, who didn't in the NFL. Our offense is not playing well, though, for sure. Week 4, we have Trubisky there, obvious player of the week there in offense, 381 and 4 touchdowns. Then we have LRB there on the Saints at 2 sacks and 16 tackles and a forced fumble on the day, though. Insane game for him. We have Smith played well, and Ray played well there for the Bengals. Week 5, Russell Wilson, their player of the week for the NFC, 4 touchdown passes, 363 through the air. Then you have Graham there for the Philadelphia Eagles there, 3 sacks, 8 tackles, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 fumble recovery. Great game for him on the line. Then we have Philip Rivers there, pretty obvious AFC offensive player of the week, 495 through the air, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, 1 sack. Just a huge game for Philip over our Giants. Then we have the Colts there, 15 tackles, 1 forced fumble for G.O.A.T, I guess that's how you say it, but great game for him. Now it's time to take a look at our stats right now through the season, and right now Eli Manning is not playing well at all, though. Our defense playing alright against 17 for middle of the pack, not the greatest. Points scored, 23rd in the NFL. Our offense not playing well. Points allowed, 22nd, so our defense isn't playing all that well, I guess. And offensive yards, 26th in the NFL. So team needs some work, that's for sure. But it's year 1, though. We're supposed to struggle in year 1 because we rebuild through the offseason to play better and reload for the next season. But as I'm looking at some positions right now for possible trades, one right now is coming up to me, and that is a trade at running back. So do we commit to Darkwa just yet there at running back, or do we give Vereen just a few more weeks and see if he plays well, or give Darkwa a few more weeks, see if he plays consistently? Because Darkwa playing fantastic since putting him at the starter position. He's just playing great for us, and Paul Perkins is a great backup. He needs to be used somewhere. So do we trade Vereen or Perkins? That's the question there. Or do we not trade both of them at all and just keep them both, or basically all in the system? Then next up is at left tackle right there. Greg Van Roten over Flowers. Flowers seems to be like a decent guy to go and trade because he has the young age and the overall. So that's all right there for the trade. But he's just not working in our system at all. He let up too many sacks. Whereas Van Roten is playing better than him at right now. Then at right tackle, we have Fluker there coming back this week, 78 overall. He's playing great. Well, he played great in over Hart there because Hart let up a sack last week and a couple weeks before. But other than that, though, I think our team is pretty much solid for players right now. Like, we don't need to make any more trades on defense. Our defense is fine. Other than linebacker, though, linebacker is kind of a question right now. But other than that, though, I think our team is great at what we're at defense. Whereas offense, do we trade a running back? Do we not? And do we add left tackle through a trade? That's the question right now. But first things first, scout some players on the college draft board. Let's take a look at left tackle again. Who's on here, though? So do you have any more players from like the 5th round? You have Saunders. Saunders early 5th rounder right there. Hatcher is mid 6th rounder. Dunn, late 4th rounder. Okay. And then we have McBean, 7th rounder. There's a lot of players to scout though. Holy. Moorman is undrafted. Let's just go to right tackle. And right tackles. So you have Ross Martin here. Ross is undrafted. How is a question mark? So next thing up is our matchup against Denver. I don't want to check how Denver's playing. They're just gonna demolish us anyway. So let's go sim this and hope for the best. Pretty predictable there, but still we've lost that game. Now 1-5 on the season. This team is terrible right now. But let's go take a look at that game. See how bad we played. If we played great, that's all that really matters. But still, we lost by 1 point though. How are we losing these close games? We lost like 3 close games. The first game was the overtime game against the Cowboys in overtime by that field goal. Then it was last week by like 3 or 4 points. Then it's this week by 1 single point. And now we fall to 1-5. So this team is not as bad as the record suggests, because we're still a great team defensively and offensively, but we're just struggling to close out games. That's the problem. But look at that offensive yard gain though by Denver. 596. We cannot let up that much offensive yards. But Paxton Lynch, 501 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Eli Manning, 183, 1 interception, 56.3 passing rating. Not good at all for Eli Manning. And he had a 52% completion percentage that game, whereas Lynch had 70. But rushing yards though, we had 68 from Darkwa on the day, and 3 rushing touchdowns on the day as well. So I guess it kind of takes away from Eli Manning's performance, but still, Darkwa played fantastic this game though, and he came up clutch when we relied on him. But Anderson at 40 yards, we had 24 from Paxton Lynch, 23 from Jamal Charles, 20 from Vereen, 13 from Manning, and 4 from Devontae Booker. Then receiving yards, 203 from Demaryius Thomas though. That is insane to see that. But 103 from Carlos Henderson. Also he had a touchdown there too. But 84 from Brandon Marshall, first big game of the season. 79 from Virgil Green, 65 from Emmanuel Sanders, 39 from Odell Beckham Jr., 28 from Evan Ingram, 28 from Sterling Shepard, 27 from Marlon Brown, 15 from Charles, 13 from Tide, 6 from Derby, 4 from Harris, and that's about it. Then blocking though, did we have any more sacks than we did, or that were blamed on us? And Fluker did, and Bowie did. Okay, now it's time on defense. So defense, we had 9 tackles from Casillas, great game out of him. But Vernon had 8 and a sack. We had 8 from Washington, half a sack and an interception. So maybe he might get Defensive Player of the Week though, you never know. Then we have 7 from JPP and a half a sack, 7 from Rogers Camardi, and then we have 1 pick and 6 tackles from Eli Apple though. He's playing great this season, and that's pretty much it. Then kicking 2 for 2 for Patrick Murray. I don't believe he's actually missed this season, but that was from 50 yards out, was his longest on the day. Then punting, he had 6 from Brad Wing for 319, and that's about it. So, other than letting up all that passing yards, we played pretty decent though. We only lost by 1 point. That's not bad against the Denver Broncos, because in this game, their defense is OP though. Their defense is amazing. So, I guess that's nothing to take away from their performance. They still play great, but their defense pretty much, they're pretty hard to win against pretty much, or even play well against offensively against them. But week 6, we had a couple games here in the NFL. Obviously, we had Eagles-Panthers. Panthers lost that one 23-21. They lost by 2 points. Miami destroyed Atlanta there 47-12 though. So Miami, they have no idea what their identity this season is, because one game they're terrible, the next game they're demolishing great teams. So I don't know what's wrong with Miami. But 37-19 W there for Baltimore over Chicago. Houston won 3-22 over Cleveland. Minnesota won 36-24 against Green Bay. Detroit won 30-28 over New Orleans. Then we have the Jets only losing by 1 point to the Patriots there. That's pretty surprising there. But San Fran won 22-19. Tampa Bay won 24-19 over Arizona. Then you have Jacksonville winning 29-16 over the Rams. Then we have Kansas City winning 20-12 over the Patriots. Not the Patriots, the Steelers, I mean. And then we have Chargers 17-14 over Oakland. And then we have us losing by 1 point to Denver. And then we have Indiana and Tennessee, with Indiana winning 41-34. So I guess there wasn't too many upsets there in that week. It's pretty much obvious who's going to win, and they won those games. But I don't want to check out stats just yet. I'll wait until like our last sim game. We'll take a look at them after that. But right now, let's take a look at our scouting right now. See if we can finally find some great offensive linemen in the draft besides in the first round. But let's see this. So right tackle was where we left off last time. We have Howe. He's an early fourth rounder. Sorry. McFarland is undrafted, and so on. So right guard. Any good right guards in the second round? We have one from Deontay Mayer. He's alright. Yeah, Minuski, he is pretty good, I guess. Larson is pretty decent. Green, pretty decent. And Scantleberry, we cannot scout him yet. So, now it's time to move on to the next matchup, which is against the Seahawks. The Seahawks of Russell Wilson, they're too OP though. It's too deadly to go and face them offensively. But I mean, their defense kind of fallen off in the past few years. Maybe we can take advantage of that and finally win our second game of the season. But first thing, we'll take a look at our offensive player of the week and defensive player of the week for the NFC. So let's see week 6. Week 6, our defensive player of the week was not our Darrell Washington, but it was Jadeveon Clowney there with 11 tackles and 3 sacks. Great game for him. Tannehill at 254, 4 touchdowns, 2 sacks right there. So Tannehill is not injured in this game, though. I thought he was, but Alex Cutler is not playing at starter right now for the Dolphins. But Teddy Bridgewater, 293, 3 touchdown passes, 5 sacks against him, but he gets NFC Player of the Week. Then we have Rankins there at D-tackle, 10 tackles, 3 sacks for him on the week. But right now I'd say we were kind of getting screwed over with the schedule though, because one week we're facing the best offense in the league, which is the Chargers. Then the next week we're facing the best defense in the league, the league, which is the Denver Broncos. So we're kind of getting screwed over with these matchups, but still we'll make it through. Hopefully win this game against the Seattle Seahawks, because if we don't, pretty much I'd say our season is almost over, because coming back from down 1-6 is pretty hard to do in the NFL. So let's go in this game, hopefully win this game, and go into the bye with some good intentions or good positive vibes in the organization. So now we're in the bye, but let's see if we won the game. But first, injuries. Do we have any injuries in this game? And we have one from Darkwa, the pulled groin though. Our starting running back is out. So I guess it's a good thing to have good backups, because things like this happen. But take a look at the record though. Now we're 2-5 on the season. We won against the Seahawks going into the bye week. Perfect to see that. We finally capitalized on a team that's kind of struggling right now. So Seahawks 32-25 was the final against Seahawks in New York, and we played great though. We finally played well. So Manning 378, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Huge exclamation mark game for him as he finally came back and played well after that terrible game last week against Denver. But Russell Wilson 347, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Not a bad game, but not a good game by Russell Wilson standards there. But next thing up is our rushing yards. So how well did Darkwa play? He played 50 yards rushing, 13 attempts, not that bad. Thomas Rawls 46. Russell Wilson at 38, 21 from Eddie Lacy, 20 from Vereen, a touchdown, 16 from Prois and a touchdown, and that's it. Then receiving yards, Odell Beckham Jr., 110 yards, 0 touchdowns. But Shepard, first big game of the season, 116 and 1 touchdown on the day and 7 receptions. 69 from Doug Baldwin, 77 from Jimmy Graham and a touchdown. 58 from Evan Ingram, our tight end. 88 from Thomas Rawls. We'll just sort this actually, it looks terrible. What else? 40 from Darkwa, 39 for Brandon Marshall and a touchdown, 32 for Vereen, and that's pretty much it with Lockett with 15 and a touchdown. But we'll go, wait, did Harris get a touchdown actually? Who got a touchdown at the end? And it was Dwayne Harris, there's 7-yard reception for a touchdown, so cool to see that. But blocking wise, did we let up any sacks here? And our team only let up 1, and that's from DJ Fluker. So right now he's coming back from injury, trying to get back in to his right tackle position, so we'll give him a break though. We'll give him a break for this week. Then defense. So defense, 9 tackles from Landon Collins, our defensive captain right there. 8 from Casillas. We had 7 from Andrew Adams and an interception there. 7 from Darrell Washington. 6 from JPP. We had 6 from Rogers Cromartie and a pick. We had 5 from Harrison, and he had a sack there as well. Then we had 1 sack from Vereen, or not Vereen, from Vernon, and that's pretty much it there on the week. How many sacks actually? Yeah, just 2 from Vernon and Harrison. So, great game there going into the bye week. Plus, we have Patrick Murray still perfect on the season, 2 for 2, with his longest being 51 yards out in that game. So Murray's playing great. Our defense played great in that game. Eli came back, played well. I'm loving this going into the bye week. So, what game are we going to play when we come back, though, after the bye? So, we could play the Redskins. We could play the Raiders, but we got to take a look, though, at our trade deadline. So, right now might be a good time to go to end this episode off right there, because it's trade deadline week, and I just want to go and make a separate video for this one because it's probably going to be a long episode, and I just don't want to make like an hour episode for one because it just seems way too long for an hour episode. So anyway, I guess on this episode off right here, make sure to like and subscribe for more Giants franchise build, and thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.